Entering Sansuka Bay. Our steamer is rounding the Cape of Sakalumi Island at the entrance of Sansuka Bay. Spread out before us is the densely built-up peninsula of Orepi, whose famous spiral tower rises from the warehouses and the forest of masts lining the area's bustling harbor front. Lomuku Castle, the city's most iconic building, along with the Orepi Tower and the Sakalumi Lighthouse, dominate the city center from Labatachi Hill. Another steamer ferry is moving in the opposite direction. The column of smoke rising from its chimney stack makes the Lomuka appear to be floating in the air, appropriate to the castle's name, which means cloud. Our view is dreamlike and deliberately enticing. Pulling into that sun-bedazzled harbor with the wind on one's face and the crying of seagulls in one's ear, and with the penguins leaping alongside the boat, and all the wonders of the imperial city waiting us at the other end, all might seem as an exotic elsewhere for which so many hearts are consciously or unconsciously yearning. And yet, on this steamer's deck, at least somewhere at the back of our mind, we would, no doubt, already be worrying about the pickpockets awaiting us at the crowded wharves, that meeting tomorrow morning with the representatives of the Silk Weavers Guild, or with that acquaintance of our cousin's who said he could find us work, or simply the same old anxieties that are always with us because they are anxieties about ourselves. Looking closely at the open pages of the book being held by the seated passenger, we can see the essential elusiveness of our desires for another world. The woman is reading an illustrated guide to Switzerland, which may be the embodiment of her longed-for escape. The Lover's Bridge. The Teppo Sansuki is the widest and most monumental of the bridges spanning the Jumenta River. Mounted at its very center is a stone statue of a man and woman embracing, known simply as the Lovers. Such is the fame of this statue that the Teppo Sansuki is often referred to as the Lover's Bridge. According to legend, the carving by the celebrated sculptor Pumaton was originally two separate sculptures commissioned for the garden of a nobleman's villa. Pumaton was so taken with their beauty that he decided to keep them for himself, temporarily placing them in a corner of his workshop. However, such was the beauty of the statues that they fell in love. When Pumaton arrived at his workshop one morning, he discovered the two locked in each other's arms. Overcome by a jealous rage, he set upon the statues with his carving hammer, only to be saved by an intervening apprentice. Perhaps the reason for the chips on the male statue's right arm and on the female statue's right knee. It has become popular for tourist couples to have their portraits taken next to the famous lovers. 3 such pairs poise at the base of the statue and are being sketched by 3 short-order artists. Atop a pile of hay on a passing wagon, a child is holding up a banner that says, "O Sansuka, with you, business never stops." This is a popular saying about the city. The lovers themselves, meanwhile, sit high above the tumult on their stone pedestal, unconcerned, grasping each other in ecstatic disbelief at the miracle that has brought them together. The cloud oracle of Maracora. In Sensuka, the foretelling of future events is obtained through a pleasant and poetic method, the observation of cloud formations. Officially appointed priests, always of a very advanced age, spend their entire lives learning how to accurately interpret the prophecies contained within the tumbling masses. In Sensuka, the official prophecies are obtained from the Great Cloud Sanctuary of Maracora, located in the eastern suburb of Rialito. The observation of the clouds takes place upon a raised terrace at the front of the sanctuary, overlooking the bay. For a period of 2 hours, a diviner will stand in the middle of the terrace, perfectly still, and observe the passing clouds. His prophecy is then inscribed in a huge leather-bound book where it can be consulted by the public after being passed to the emperor so that administration of the empire can be made from as informed a perspective as possible. A view of Rialito Harbor. The Sensuka suburb of Rialito has a fine harbor, a center of the local fishing industry. In the last decade, however, it has acquired a new fashion, the curious aristocratic pastime of capesta divan, play acting as fishermen and fishmongers, made popular by the emperor's head concubine, Bure. For amusement, the imperial courtiers head to Rialito Harbor for the day and don extravagant South Sea fisher folk costumes, and cruise about on a specially appointed fisher folk barge, amply provisioned with fine food and drink, especially drink. Fishermen from the Rialito do most of the actual fishing, although the lords and ladies might take turns dangling a fishing rod over the side. It is only when the merry crew returns to shore, however, that the real fun begins, as they head over to the fish market stalls by the harbor front and take on the role of fishmongers, which mostly involves more drinking, while treating the market goers to loud praises of their catch and other witticisms. As all of the actual fish market stalls was deemed too unclean and smelly, Bure ordered the erection of a South Sea fisher stall, built out of the finest imported woods, for the use of the lords and ladies of the court. On the hilltop above, one can make out the rooftops of the sanctuary of Maracora, wherein the famous cloud oracle is housed. Lizipe Terraces. Lizipe Terraces take their name from Lizipe Hill, a rocky outcropping that steeply rises out of the narrow river valley upon which the center of Sensuka is built. The area constituted an untamed wilderness in the middle of the city that was much in favor with clandestine couples, both of lovers and of duelists. It was the Empress Kadoka who ordered the hill transformed into a vast public park, conceived as a series of concentric terraces rising up the slopes of the hilltop. Lizipe, once the destination of those willing to escape from prying eyes, has now become very much a place to see and be seen. On Sundays especially, its elegantly manicured terraces and walkways are thronged with Sensukans from all walks of life. Monumental marble staircases lead from one terrace level to the next. The statues of emperors, empresses, and other notable Sensukans adorn the balustrades of the highest terrace, where they can be seen if not, alas, see for centuries to come.